Hey everybody, and welcome back to Happily Hester After. So I wanted to talk to you all today about some dating tips for introverts. In our relationship, I am definitely more of the introvert and Daryl is an extrovert. And I think before we talk about dating tips for introverts, we should discuss the difference between introverts and extroverts. I actually heard a definition. I can't remember if I read about it in a book or saw it on like a movie or something, but the way that they described it, I really liked it, and I think that it's very fitting, especially for me, and it makes a lot of sense. So that's the definition that I am going to use. And basically what they were saying was that an introvert gets their energy from being alone with themselves, and an extrovert gets their energy from being around other people. And that makes sense for me because basically spending time around people and interacting and everything and trying to be outward and, socializing, it takes a lot of my energy. And I don't necessarily get my energy back from hanging around other people. I get my energy back from taking some time away and being by myself for a minute, and then I can come back rejuvenated and be ready to, talk and socialize and all that. And my husband, he is the opposite. He gets his energy from being around other people. So while in our daily lives, I'll have periods where I'm like, listen, I don't want to hang out with nobody today. I need to stay home, have me some me time, get myself together. He'll have times where he's like, I need to go out, like we need to go hang out with our friends, and I need to do that. That is like my favorite definition of it because it just makes so much sense. It's not necessarily in saying that as an introvert you have difficulty talking to people. It's just that that's not necessarily where you get your energy from. Now, I guess for you picky people, I can look up online the dictionary definition of the words just for reference, but just know that I'm going off of my personal one. So the dictionary says that a introvert is someone who is a shy, reticent person, okay? And an extrovert is an outgoing, overtly expressive person. Now, like I said, those definitions, they're just really kind of basic for me. And I think a lot of the time introverts confuse that energy thing with being like a shy person. Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean that you're shy. It doesn't mean that you're socially awkward. No, it just means that you get your energy from being alone. You enjoy being alone, but you can also do with being around people. I don't mind being around people. I can be around people. I work in customer service. I be around people most of my day. But when I get home, I take my time to myself, re-energize, rejuvenate. And if I don't have like me time for a few days, I start to get really like antsy. Like I'd be like, I don't wanna go. I don't wanna go nowhere. Daryl will be like, let's go here, and I'm like, nah. So that's just the definition that makes more sense to me. So anyway, as an introvert, I wanted to share some kind of dating tips for you because like I said, I know that especially when I was growing up, I always knew that I was an introvert, but for some reason I thought that meant that I was just like not going to be able to function when it came to talking to people and talking to boys, the opposite sex and all that. And I thought that I would have difficulty with dating, flirting and all that. And on top of being an introvert, I can be kind of socially awkward, but not like, no, I get along just fine. But these tips definitely helped me when I was still dating, dating and flirting and whatnot with my husband, and even before him when I was flirting with other boys. So I'm going to talk about 3 of my biggest tips. There are plenty more that I could share with you all. I could probably do a whole speaking series when I'm there. But I'm just going to share 3 of the ones that I think are most important and the other people might not think of. My first tip is this: date someone who brings out your inner extrovert. What I mean by that is when we were looking at the dictionary definition, they were talking about, an extrovert is an overly expressive, outgoing person. As an introvert, you still have the ability and the potential to be an extrovert, just not all the time. You have the ability to be outgoing. You don't always have to be stuck inside of some type of shell. You can go out and you can socialize, and you could go for the longest time and nobody not even know that you're an introvert. Because when you see them, you're outgoing and you're expressive. That's how I am. Most of the people, especially at work, they're like, what? You're always talking to somebody. But that's because especially with my husband, because we've been dating for so long and we've been around each other like that, he has brought out the inner extrovert in me, and some of his extrovertism or whatever has affected me in a positive way. It helped to bring me out of my shell and helped me to realize that I don't always have to be shy or make myself feel small or not speak out when I need to speak out just because I'm an introvert. So especially because introvertism and extrovertism, I don't know if those are words, but they make me sound super fancy. But anyway, I don't necessarily know that they're like some clinical thing, but they're often seen as personality types. Your personality type is that you're an introvert, or your personality type is that you're an extrovert. And what people do a lot of the time is that they let that personality trait stop them from fulfilling your purpose. You can't let your personality stop you from fulfilling your purpose.
Hey God, I thank you.
What? Anyway, in all seriousness, it's true. Because just because you're an introvert, or even just because you're an extrovert, it doesn't mean that God can't use you in a spiritual sense. It doesn't mean that you can't have a healthy and long-lasting relationship in a relationship sense. No, it just means that you get your energy from different places, and that is okay. When I say find someone who brings out your inner extrovert, I mean find that person who brings you out of your shell. Maybe not all the time. You don't have to be out of your shell all the time, boo-boo. Crawl back up into your shell when you need some rest. Rest up a little bit and then come back out of your shell. Let people know the real you. Let people know that I may be quiet sometimes, but sometimes I am loud. I will speak my truth, and that's my truth. So, find somebody who brings that out. When you're dating somebody who's opposite from you, that's okay, but you want to make sure that they bring out the best in you. Don't, date somebody who's not going to make you better, or who's going to, tear you down or put you down just because you're different from them. So, basically, you want to date someone who brings out your inner extrovert, but respects and loves the introvert in you. Now, the second thing with that in mind is that you want to keep in mind that opposites do attract. You want to remember that. That's a very important tip, because I think a lot of the time as introverts, we go out and look for other introverts, or we think that the only type of person we can be in a relationship with is another introvert. That's not necessarily true. A lot of the time, introverts are attracted to extroverts and the like, and that's who you end up with. And that's okay. Like I said, if you are able to, do it in a positive way, or if you're able to, come together with the right person, you can bring out the best in each other. Just like my husband, brings out that extrovert in me, I can bring out that introvert in him. And where he makes me more confident, I help him to be more, take a moment, step back, let's assess the situation first. So you bring out the best in each other, and that's the goal. So those opposites do attract, but you just want to make sure that you're bringing out the best in each other. My third and final tip for dating for introverts is this. It is okay to step outside of your comfort zone. I know that it can be scary, you've lived your life acting a certain way, doing certain things, and you meet somebody who's like, let's do this, or let's hang out with somebody for the whole day, and you're just looking like, but it is okay, and it is important to step out of your comfort zone, because that's how you grow as a person. And that's something that's important to remember in dating. We can be so stuck in our own ways that we're not willing to change. And not only does that help you grow as a person, but a lot of the time the extrovert in your life, especially if you're dating that opposite, they'll make sacrifices or compromises for you, meaning that they may want to go out one night and they decide not to because they know that you're not feeling comfortable with it and they don't want to go out without you. Either way, they're going to make some type of, sacrifices or compromises for you, and you want to make sure that you're doing the same thing in return. Just like they might decide to stay home one night, you decide to go out one night. You know what? I understand you want to hang out with your college friends. Let's go out. Let's both go. I know you want me to be there with you. I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to be by your side, supporting you, ride or die. That's what you got to do. Be willing to make those sacrifices and those compromises. And that doesn't, take away from who you are. That helps you to grow as a person too, because you're able to accept others the way that they are, and you're able to learn how to compromise and work together, because that's what a good relationship is, honestly, is learning how to compromise and work together. So I hope these tips were helpful to you all, especially to you introverts out there. If any of you have any other, tips or comments or questions, just make sure that you comment below. You already know the drill. If you're new around here, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you hit that bell button. Make sure that you hit that like button and that share button. Let all our introvert friends see it. But thank you all so much for watching. Y'all just remember, God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. Lord willing, I will see y'all next time. Bye.